thingy down here. Okay, so talk today is going to be manufacturing 2025 is going to be awesome. So I'll tell you guys why, and I'm going to give you guys some stories about what happened last time this happened, okay? So truth is that what's getting ready to happen is probably that the tariffs are going to stay in effect, right? And these tariffs are going to lead to basically elevation in prices, right? And as business owners and people that make things, this is going to be another amazing time to be a maker. Okay, now this is a big deal, and again, I know this because of what happened during the pandemic. The truth is that we thought everything was going to crater, right? And what ended up happening was that everyone just started spending money, right? Like everyone started buying furniture, and it was freaking awesome. It was the best of times and the worst of times, to be completely honest with you. So I'm gonna tell you guys some quick stories. We're gonna talk about the bullwhip effect. I got a bunch of notes here. I've been thinking about this, right? Because I think it's a big time for people that want to make stuff, people that want to get into business, making furniture, painting furniture, working on cars, whatever it is you want to do, plumbing. It's all going to be an amazing time. But if you're a maker, specifically, it's going to be awesome. And you're going to need to get your ass in gear and be there when this stuff starts to happen, okay? Because truth is that the tariffs are going to happen. They are absolutely coming in, and it might not be 145%, but it's going to be something, right? And based on what happened to me during the pandemic, I'm going to tell you guys, you need to be ready because it is going to be a boom time for people to make stuff here in America, okay? So, my name is Eric Wilken. I own the Splendid Crow. I do these talks about 4 o'clock every day, and then we show everyone what's in the shop on Friday. We go through the shop, which is, of course, going to be tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But truth is that I have 7 employees. We have a small 7-figure business, and we make about 500 pieces of furniture a year. We paint, about 500 pieces a year. During the pandemic, I was doing 125 a month. Right, was my run rate. Now my run rate's like 30 to 50 a month, right? So significantly less. But the lessons that I learned during the pandemic, I'm gonna pass on to you guys. So pay attention to this one, because this is a freaking awesome one. I've seen this before. I know what's coming down the pipeline. So anyway, I wrote down some things. I wrote down things like the bullwhip effect. Okay, the bullwhip effect happened during COVID. Right, and we'll talk about the lumber industry because everyone kind of remembers what was happening to 2x4s, right? So we're all kind of people that like to work with our hands, stuff like that. Truth is that 2x4s were like $2.75, $3, $3.25, something like that at the Home Depot. And truth is that when the pandemic hit, those things went up to about $12 a piece. They got really expensive. I think they were like $12.50 a piece, if I remember correctly. And point is that it fell back down to what it is now, and I think it's back to like $3, right? So what happened was everybody needed studs, right? People were building houses, they were renovating houses, they were doing addition on houses, people were buying houses, selling houses. I mean, the housing market was freaking insane, right? And so what happened was when these builders were trying to get these 2x4s, they'd pay any price. Like, it didn't matter what it cost because there was so much money going around. People were going to pay whatever they had to pay, right? So when the 2x4s, when you started to see kind of shortages of those, the prices were getting really, really high. What the manufacturers started to do is they started to double up on their orders. They started to triple up on their orders, right? And this is what's called the bullwhip effect, right? So basically, you got a house to build. You're trying to order a material, you're seeing that, there's shortages, right? You're seeing shortages, you're like, well, I'm gonna need all this material, right? So I'm gonna double my order. That way, when that stuff comes in, I'm gonna have plenty, and then I can turn around and I can sell it back to somebody else. Or it's basically gonna give you, you're hoping that you're gonna have an abundance of material when the supply is low, okay? So everybody did that, and it drove prices through the roof because there's only a couple companies that make studs, right? Or that make sheathing, or that make this kind of stuff, so they could charge almost whatever they want, right? So if you follow that particular industry, you'll know that basically like a bundle of studs, your standard, number 2 studs were like, I want to say it was like $575 per thousand is kind of what you get on the wholesale market, right? It shot up to something like $1,700 per thousand, right? So that's over 3x in price, right? So that's what happens when this bullwhip effect comes in, right? And that's what we're getting ready to see. So it's going to suck for a lot of people, but if you're a maker and you're someone that has a product to sell, when the shortage of stuff coming in from the foreign countries increases demand, like, you're going to be able to profit and prosper, or at least get your business going in a much faster way. And I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I'll share you guys this stuff. It's freaking exciting. Like, some people might not get this. They may think I'm being a little overzealous here, but truth is that I've seen this before. I know what's coming down the pipeline. So, okay, so we got a couple people in here now. Let's see who we got here. We got people coming in. We got Aziz, or it's Azaz in here. Good to see you. Good to hear. Gigi, good evening. Yep. And we got to see Damian Hilton. Damian, I think I've seen you from here. You've been here before. Poland. All right, man. Cool. That's a hell of a country. I've done a little bit of research on Poland. Yeah, you guys got quite the place there. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is we're going to start with we'll start with what I saw during the pandemic and why I'm seeing it again. What's getting ready to happen? Okay, so guys, Aziaz, it's Indian. Okay, cool, dude. My wife's from India and a whole bunch of family in India, and that's a great country. And it sounds like America and India are going to be doing a little bit more business. I do business in India with the brass industry over there. So yeah, I'm excited for what's going to happen. I'm hoping that we can increase operations in India to make some more products, right? To build some more furniture here in America. But I use India as a place to get all my brass knobs, handles, brass trims, and I'd like to start getting some brass legs and bases and things like that made out of solid brass so that I can sell them over here to rich customers, right? So that's kind of where I'm going from. Okay, yeah, good. And yeah, we actually my wife's mother is coming to our house middle of the month. She stays with us for like 2 or 3 months out of the year. Then she stays with my wife's brother, who lives in Austin. Stays with him for a couple months out of the year, and then she goes back to India and stays there for like 4 or 5 months. So anyway, Indian families, right? They all stick close together. Anyway, okay. So here's what's getting ready to happen, guys, and this is let's do one more thing. But now, Saudi Arabia, yeah, right on, man. I need to get over there. I've never been over Saudi Arabia. So anyways, here's what's getting ready to happen. So let me get a quick drink here. So during the pandemic, you had manufacturing shortages, right? Everyone called it supply shortages. It wasn't supply shortages. You had a lack of people working to make stuff. And when you had that lack of demand, right, people were sourcing it from anywhere they could. They'd go to India, they'd go to Pakistan, they'd go to, wherever, Australia, they'd go to New Zealand, they'd go to England, wherever they could to find stuff. Because even though supply was low, manufacturing was low, demand was still high. There's always kind of a floor on demand, right? And so it caused the price of everything to rise, okay? So if you were someone who was working, if you basically bucked the system when they tried to tell you that you weren't essential, remember that? Like non-essential businesses, like that's the most like disgusting thing I've ever heard any government politician ever say. But truth is that if you continue to produce, you had more business than you know what to do with, okay? Now, what's getting ready to happen right now is if these tariffs, in fact, do come into play, especially with China, and it could be in any of these other countries as well, but we're going to talk about specifically China because so much stuff is procured there and brought into America. So truth is that if that happens, okay, if you make anything, people are no longer going to pay the price of the good that they used to get, right? Now, it's not to say they won't buy it again. They may buy it again and they may pay the higher price, but they are going to be looking for an alternative, okay? And here's exactly what happened to me, okay? So I used to spend like $3,000 to $5,000 a month on advertising because I'm an internet-based business. We don't have a brick and mortar store here in St. Louis, right? So we'd spend this money on advertising, and our floor was like, maybe our floor was like maybe $20,000 a month. Right? It was fine. It was good enough. I said, me and my wife we didn't have to work for anybody else. It was fantastic. I loved it. But point is that we didn't have to spend any more money on advertising. We turned off all the money on advertising because the internet, the views, the people coming into the website, the inquiries went through the roof. I mean, it was a full-time job just going through all of the emails, all of the text messages, all of the telephone calls, because people were just looking for stuff to buy because nothing was available, right? Nothing was coming in from China because there was China had basically locked everything down. Yeah, they were producing things, but it was becoming a pain in the butt to get stuff over here. So that is getting ready to happen again, right? So if you are a business, you want to start a business, right? The amount of eyeballs that are going to be looking for products is going to be insane. Like it'll 5X. It'll 5X in a month, right? If this thing actually comes into play. And we don't know that it's going to, but I'm thinking that we're going to see something here on May 2nd that is going to be cataclysmic to a lot of people, right? But if you sell something, if you make a product that sources American products or from a country that is untariffed, that still has good supply chains, you are going to be in a position to grow your business much faster than you would otherwise, right? And again, this is what happened to us in the pandemic. You know, we had, I forget the amount of eyeballs, but basically went from having like a floor of like maybe $20,000 a month to having a floor of like $150,000 a month, like an insane amount of growth, just because people were looking for stuff to buy. Right? So this is what I'm telling you guys, is if you're around when this thing happens, even if you don't sell anything, let's just say you sell nothing, okay? Millions of people are going to be looking for your product, right? They are going to be looking for whatever it is that you sell because it's no longer available at another country. And if it is available, it's hyper expensive, okay? So take advantage of this if you can. And like I keep preaching on all these videos, you know, get a website, get a logo, put your products on there, whatever it is you sell, whatever it is you make, as long as it's an American-made product or has very minimal foreign inputs, you're gonna be in amazing shape. Like I'm telling you guys, do some advertising, get some exposure, get the algorithm knowing that you exist, because people are gonna be looking. And for me, it's kind of exciting, to be completely honest with you. I'm ready for this to happen again. It was wild times, and I lost so much money when it happened, but I have the knowledge now that I didn't have back then, so I'm ready for it to happen again. Even though it's going to be bad for certain people, I get it. The exposure is going to be insane, right? So that's something that I wanted to put forward to you guys. So, all right, I'm going to slow down. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, greetings from Vermont. Vermont, all right, cool. Killington, man, what a beautiful place that is. Holy smokes. I used to do Spartan racing, and that was one of the biggest races right there in Killington. That was obstacle course racing. It was a lot of fun there, but man, what a beautiful state you guys have there. Yeah, anyone that's never been to Northeast America, it's wild. You know, it's old part of the country, and it is gorgeous. Lots of mountains and snow and just lots of beauty. So anyway, hit the like button, guys. Add to the discussion, hit the subscribe button, all these kind of things. We're talking about 2025 is going to be a freaking awesome year to be a manufacturer. And I'm telling you guys this based on what happened to me during the pandemic. Right? Because I see a lot of similar things getting ready to happen. And it's not that people are going to be locked down. I'm not talking about it from that aspect, or people are going to be dying. I'm not saying that kind of stuff. What I'm saying is the amount of people looking for alternatives to hyper expensive, cheap stuff from other countries are going to give exposure to your business. And you can jumpstart whatever it is you're trying to do with all this exposure, because that's what happened to us, right? So that's where I'm coming from. Okay, so, right, time change. Greetings from Vermont. Yep, said hello to you. We got, who's this? Sheehan. Hello, fans from Taiwan. Oh, cool, man. Taiwan's, yeah, we got a lot to talk about Taiwan here in America. You guys are, I guess there's, I talk about Taiwan a little bit. It's interesting. People think that Taiwan is this place that, you know, is what's the word I'm looking for here? Like super futuristic, you know, because you guys make chips, you know, this kind of stuff. And they don't understand that chip industry that you guys have over there that's so vital to America was like a planned thing. Right? It's not like, you know, dad made chips and he passed the knowledge down to his son and his son and his daughter and all these kind of things. Like, it was a planned thing, right? And we as Americans, we need to learn that we can do an element of that as well. You know, this kind of economy that we have right now is kind of planned. You know, when they sent everybody to college back in 2007, 2008, they did that on purpose. They did that with intention, right? So Taiwan did the same thing with its chip industry, right? They intentionally built this thing up, and now they're I think you guys make an insane amount of the chips, something like 90% of it. It's really wild. But I guess y'all are building a chip factory, I think here in Arizona maybe, you know, so that's fantastic, you know, and we're glad to have you, and yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, what else we got here? Nobody's in. Yes, nobody, I remember you. Glad you're here. Thanks, guys, for entering the discussion. We're going to keep rocking through this stuff because I think this is super exciting. And again, people can disagree with me, and maybe nothing will happen with tariffs. Right? Maybe we'll just make some kind of deal and everything will just go back to normal. But I really doubt it. I'm so of the mind that there's going to be something happening because a change here in America is needed. Like, we need people making stuff again, and we just don't have that, you know. So, all right. So, other things I want to talk about. Let's see. I wrote down. Let's see. Exposure to all-time highs. Or yep. Okay. So another thing. All right. This is a good number for people. Okay. 98% of all small businesses in America are with 20 employees or less. right? So this is really important for people to understand that I want to say there are 13 million manufacturing jobs in America, and 98% of those are small businesses, right? So it's not your big, Ford and General Motors, companies like that, Tesla. These are the ones we tend to kind of think about. These are small businesses with less than 20 employees, okay? So truth is that everybody can start a small business. Anybody can do this kind of stuff. And is it difficult? Yeah. Yeah. Will you fail the first couple of times? Probably, but if you kind of listen to what I'm telling you, you can do it in such a way that it's not going to hurt you as much, right? It's not going to be super expensive. It's not going to be, cause you to lose your home. Like, truth is, you have to kind of do this as a little bit of a side hustle until you can take that plunge to do it full time. But if you guys do what I've been telling you to do and, get your product out there with some advertising, take care of the customers that you do get, show some hubris, be really positive about your product, talk about how great your product is. You'll be able to get so many more eyeballs this year, I think, than you would in the last probably 2 or 3 years. Okay. And again, I don't think people can quite understand this. Like, this is exactly what happened to me in COVID. And I see all the precursors happening right now for this to happen again. So I really want to see more people get to do this, because this is what we need in America. We need people taking the plunge, creating products and services, and then trying to sell them to other people. It's the hardest thing you'll ever love. It's you're gonna hear people tell you, get away from me. I don't like your product. Your product sucks. Stop calling me. I don't want to hear from you ever again. Blah 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 blah. But this is the thing that kind of will help us as a society kind of learn to tolerate each other better. Because we're all kind of going through the same shit. We understand what it's like to have to, deal with people all the time to try and start a business. It'd be really good for society, So I hope this happens. I don't know if it's going to happen, but truth is that when the price of all these products, and this is what I said at the beginning of the stream, okay? When the price of all these products goes up significantly, which it will, there's no doubt about it, it's not that people are going to buy your product, but they are going to be looking in a way that I almost cannot convey to you guys how wild it was when the pandemic hit. I mean, we had never seen, the traffic was off the charts for us. The amount of inquiries, the amount of people looking for things to buy was insane. Okay, so if you're, whatever it is that you do, if you can sell it, if you can make it here in America, you're not subject to, these really high tariffs and things like that, you are going to have a leg up on everybody. So I hope that I hope this kind of resonates with people, because it's a big deal, and I haven't seen this in a long time, and we're getting ready to see that, right? And I talked earlier about this whole bullwhip effect thing, and what you're seeing right now is you're seeing tons of product being imported into America, right? So what happened is everyone saw what was coming down the pipeline, right? the administration was pretty good about letting people know, hey, these tariffs are coming, right? So it gave companies months to basically, basically gave people months to kind of get ahead of this tariff thing, right? So people mass ordered stuff, right? So you got just insane amounts of product coming into America right now, right? Once we filter through that stuff, which is probably going to be June, July, somewhere in there, you're going to start to see prices go up on many things, and there's people saying, oh, there's going to be shortages. That's not going to happen. The truth is that the stuff that most people buy is made in America, right? The food you buy, a lot of the cars we buy, a lot of that stuff is actually made here, right? It's the little trinkets and dumb shit that we buy that's not going to be available, right? The cheap napkins, the red cups for 59 cents at Walmart, like that stuff's not going to be available, but most of the stuff that people want will be around, but as people start looking for other things to buy, because people still have money, you're like I said, you're gonna have an amazing opportunity just to really nail it. So I hope people like this kind of stuff. I know it's I'm a little animated, to be quite honest with you, but it's a big deal, and again, I saw this during COVID, and I want people to understand what's coming down the pipeline, because I saw it, right? We lived through it, and it was a wild time, So again, you got June, July, right? So if you don't have a website at this point, you need to get one made. You need to, if you have products or things that you've been working on over the years, get good pictures of them, get them put online, Photoshop that shit, whatever you got to do, get it out there, get on Google, start learning about Google Ads, and, maybe spend $50, $100 a month on advertisement, and work that thing up, because you're going to be inundated with people looking to buy stuff. I promise, especially if it's a product that's made overseas, So truth is that I did a video, maybe a week ago about we're looking at furniture on Amazon, right? So there's a lot of furniture you can buy on Amazon, and I just went ahead and I sorted right to the top, like what's the most expensive product? And most of the expensive products were like $6,000-7,000. And truth is that it was all made in China, right? Which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But if there are people looking for that furniture, they're not going to pay that $6,000 with 145% tariff on top of it, right? They're going to be like, okay, we got to look for alternatives, right? So they're going to be looking things made in Indonesia, things made in Vietnam. And if those things aren't worked out, again, no one's paying that price. They're going to be looking for things that are not tariffed, right? So they're going to be looking at American-made stuff, which puts you right in the crosshairs of whatever product it is that people are looking for that they can no longer get. So this is a cool thing. It's something that really, like I said, elevated our business. And we went from that, like I said, that like maybe $20,000 floor to where now our floor is like maybe $60,000 a month is kind of the floor for our business. We know that's, even in the crappy months, that's probably about where we're going to be. We could go a little bit lower, I guess, but point is that our floor in terms of revenue tripled, and that's just from exposure, right? And that's obviously, delivering a good product and having happy customers and things like that. But it's one of these times where if you're there for it, you will get catapulted above everybody else. At least the people that are in the same position that you're in. So don't F around, y'all. Like, this is an interesting time, and people need to be ready to seize upon it, because like everything in life is a series of opportunities, right? I mean, we all, during your life, you're going to get the opportunity to take, big swings, small swings, you get a chance to open a door. And a lot of people, honestly, get a lot of opportunities and they never execute on them. They never take a chance. They're never in the right place at the right time to make that leap. And this is what I'm seeing happening, y'all. So anyway, I thought that I would talk about this for a little bit today. It's a great topic. And again, I'm excited. I'm making all kinds of stuff, guys. Like tomorrow, I'll show you some of the stuff that I'm making right now. And I'm getting ready to launch basically what you might call a hyper expensive line of furniture. These are like $15,000 tables and maybe $30,000 tables and $20,000 credenzas, and it's all going to be made out of like super fine veneers, high gloss lacquered. It's really cool stuff. And this is what I think is going to happen. People are going to be ready to spend insane amounts of money on furniture, and not everyone's going to operate in that tier, but you can operate in the mid tier, right? Good, better, best. You can operate in that better tier. And again, people aren't going to be buying that stuff from China anymore. They're not going to be buying this stuff from Vietnam. Now, companies like Restoration Hardware, they're going to be paying that tariff to get their stuff brought in here, right? And quick thing on tariffs that people don't understand. Everyone thinks that just because there's a 145% tariff on something, that the price is going to increase 145%, okay? It's not, okay? And pay attention to this, okay? I'm going to take a drink here. I'm going to put a pin in this real quick. Here's how the tariff thing is going to go down, right? You guys mark my words and you tell me if I'm wrong. I'll tell you exactly how this is going to go down, okay? These tariffs are going to come in, whatever the number might be, whether it's 1% or 145%. The businesses that are bringing these things in are 100% going to try and make you pay for this. And they're going to say, oh, we're only going to pass on as much as we need to, right? So say they pass on 50%, 100%, 150%, it doesn't matter, okay? The consumer is not paying, okay? Yes, some people will pay the tariff. I get it. But the bulk, right? And everything's an 80-20 rule. 80% are not paying that tariff. They're going to go find an alternative product, or they're not going to buy it all. They're going to find something else to spend their cash on. And then what's going to happen is all the businesses that paid that tariff to get that shit in here, right, they're going to have to discount it, right? Because businesses run on cash. They do not run on credit, right? Unless you're some massive company that's been in business for 100 years, you don't have the lines of credit. You need cash. Okay, if you want to keep your employees around, employees do not take credit, right? I can't go get a bunch of fucking Home Depot cards and give them to my employees. They are not going to take them. They only take cash. So businesses are going to be discounting all of this stuff in 3 to 6 months, right? And they are going to take a loss on all this stuff. And then when it comes time to buy more of that stuff from China, they are going to say, no, we will not buy this stuff anymore, right? We cannot sell it. Our customers aren't interested in paying it. And then China, or the people over in these other countries, are going to say, great, what will they buy it for? and then you're going to have that negotiation, but it's going to take 3 to 6 months to get there. And when that happens, this whole situation solves itself by the end of the year, okay? Because people are going to realize, oh, Americans do have a threshold for what they're willing to pay for something. Because it's not that Americans are unwilling to, we'll pay anything for anything. It's amazing how much money we'll pay for the dumbest stuff, right? But when we know we're getting F'd in the A, we won't buy it. 100%. I've seen it so many times over my life, we will not buy it because we know the scam, right? And most people don't know the scam or they're not paying attention, but everyone kind of knows what's going on now. So again, 3 to 6 months, all this garbage that the businesses try and throw onto you will be discounted. I guarantee it. And then the prices will come back down. China, in the meantime, China's going to try and say, you know what? We're going to sell our products in other countries, right? They're going to be like, hey, EU, any of the EU countries, we're going to dump all this stuff on you. And the EU is going to say, great, how much are you going to charge me? And they're going to say, well, America bought it for $5. We're going to sell it to you for $5. And the EU is going to go, get fucked. It's not going to happen. We don't want it, right? So then China's going to say, well, how about $4? And the EU may say yes, they may say no. You don't really know. But the thing about Europe is they don't spend the way America spends, right? They're much more frugal. They enjoy experiences a lot more than goods, as I understand it, right? I'm not an expert by any means, but truth is that's kind of what they're into. So when that happens, China's gonna be like, oh shit, where do we send all this stuff? Our people need stuff to do. We can't sell it, right? And this is all gonna happen right when America's saying, nah, we're not gonna buy your stuff anymore. So all this stuff gets worked out in probably the next 6 months. So that's what I see coming down the pipeline. So if you're one of these people that has a product for the next 6 to, what are we in? 6 to 8 months, I guess will be the end of the year. You're gonna have an opportunity to get a lot of exposure on your products, So that's what I'm gonna kind of leave with. I don't know, again, I don't know if people disagree with this or if they quite understand what's going on, but I told you what happened. Like I told you what happened during COVID and how it went for us. I've talked about it many times, how our business literally 5x'd in a year, right? And then we lost all the money that we had coming in because we didn't understand how to scale a company that fast, right? We didn't understand that we needed to raise prices in order to curb the demand, right? And we didn't know that we needed to extend lead times to help keep our costs in check. So we just hired and paid whatever we had to pay to deliver things. We hired as many people as we had to hire and threw as many hours as we had to in order to keep our lead times what they were, So major lessons that we learned. And again, I'll talk about all this stuff as it starts to happen again, but these are all things that you learn as you go. And it's easy for someone just to tell you guys this is how it works. It's a whole other thing when you're going through it, So anyway, I hope this is good content for people. If you find value out of it, like everybody else does, hit the like button, add the subscribe, and I got more content like this coming out, So if there's topics you guys want to discuss, you want me to shoot the shit about, let me know, and I'll talk about them, So I've got all kinds of topics, man. I'm constantly thinking about stuff that's related to the business of woodworking and furniture and paint, and I like talking about it. 4 o'clock, it's a good time. Basically take a break and relax. And anyway, so tomorrow, what's in the shop, and we'll go through all the stuff that I'm building. We'll go through the painted stuff that's back there, and we're gonna look at, I'll talk to you guys about this massive project that I have coming up. That's it's basically a 15-foot table, right? So the question is, how do you clear coat a 15-foot table, right? So we're gonna go over that, and we'll talk about the strategy behind figuring out how to do that, because my booth is only 8 feet deep, So we got that going on. I got lots of cool projects that I have coming up, lots of cool credenzas and sideboards, and I'm trying to think what else I got. I got a badass foyer table, a 48-inch round foyer table with gilded legs. They're gonna, I don't know what the hell they're gonna be, but they're pretty awesome. So anyway, cool projects. So anyway, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Be here for What's in the Shop tomorrow. We'll probably do that around like 9 or 10 o'clock, and should be a good one. So I'll catch you later.